Welcome into Celtics post-game live presented by your New England Ford dealers. Chris Mannix, Amina Smith here with you. And the Celtics fall to the Miami Heat 106-98, a gritty physical matchup. However, Mannix, what did you take away after watching this big game?
Tough fourth quarter. I mean, the Celtics were right there going into the fourth with a 4-point lead. And then the Miami Heat, who had not been playing well as of late, stepped up and made big plays. Kyle Lowry made big plays. Jimmy Butler made big shots. It was the Heat defense, which is one of the better ones in the NBA as well, that made stops down the stretch. I mean, this had a playoff-like feel to it, and Miami in that fourth quarter just made more plays than the Celtics did. Yeah,
it felt like the Miami Heat, they were able to flip a different switch in that fourth quarter. Let's take a look at how it all went down in that fourth quarter for the Celtics. Miami up right here, 95-93 due to some free throws, and Jimmy Butler puts them up 97-93, getting that work done, and Derek White, he's going to get something done for the Celtics right here. Gets the three, cuts that Miami Heat lead to 1. Then here is where it kind of all falls apart. Jaylen Brown tries to get the shot, doesn't go in. Mannix, it seemed like he was a bit off here.
Yeah, a bit rushed, too. I would have liked to see Jaylen Brown go to the basket and make one extra move, and here you see Jaylen going again. That's a shot he likes to take, that mid-range jump shot in the paint. Oftentimes makes it 2 in a row, 2 big misses there by Jaylen Brown.
Just wasn't falling for him, but it was falling for Kyle Lowry. He hit the jumper right here, gives the Heat the lead 100-96, and then Jason Tatum with the turnover on this play right here, and then Tyler Hero gets it over to Jimmy Buckets. Big dunk from Jimmy Butler on this play, and this is where it all went south for the Celtics. Jason Tatum trying to get something done, tries to cut that lead down 102-98. And then on this next play, Jason Tatum driving to the other side of the court. Trying to drive here, but he gets the offensive foul.
Yeah, that was a big play right there. Celtics with a chance to cut the lead to 2. Jason Tatum going to the basket. He complained about the call, but that was the right call. Max Strus got in front of Jason Tatum, kept his feet moving, kept his body squared. Offensive foul. The Celtics tried to challenge it, reviewed it. Same call.
It looks like in that fourth quarter, the Miami Heat, they were able to take those big shots and make those big shots. And then on the other hand, you had the Celtics who just weren't able to get anything done down the stretch. What happened?
For most of it, it was a game of a couple of possessions here or there. You saw those 2 Jaylen Brown misses. They were huge. You make those 2 shots, all of a sudden you give yourself a lead and you force Miami to play from behind. So it's just a couple of possessions here or there that changed things up. But look, Miami went out in the offseason and got a guy like Kyle Lowry for just this reason. He is a big-time playoff performer, a guy with a championship from a couple of seasons ago. And in that fourth quarter, he just took over this game and made big shots.
We talk about worrying about the Celtics handling physicality in the playoffs, but how did this preview show you they could handle physicality once we get into the postseason?
I think they handled it pretty well. I thought Daniel Tice had a really solid game coming off the bench, backing up. Al Horford was pretty solid. Grant Williams was okay. And look, the Miami Heat are among the most physical, intense teams in the league. I thought the Celtics matched that physicality, for the most part. It's just in the fourth quarter, the Miami Heat made the Celtics a half-court team. They forced them to try to beat them off the dribble. They're a very good defensive team, and they just got stops in that possession. If you're the Celtics, you look at that fourth quarter and think to yourself, we've got to make sure we have creative ways to create offense, because they brought Jason Tatum back a little bit earlier than I think Ime Udoka wanted to, because the Heat were starting to make a run, and the Celtics, without Tatum in the lineup, just weren't able to manufacture enough offense to keep the Heat at bay.
I can't help but think of this game and think of a playoff preview for the Celtics. Let's bring in Scal, who's live inside of TD Garden. And Scal, a tough loss for this Celtics team. However, what did you see out there on the floor?
Man, I was really disappointed today, to be honest with you. I mean, for all the things you guys just named, like the physicality, I thought the Celtics have really turned the page on that, especially coming off that Toronto game where I thought they matched the physicality with some players that weren't the top guys. But today, did you see the Bam Adebayo action, whether it be a dribble handoff or a screen? And Eric Spoelstra is a fantastic coach, and he milked that thing dry. Kyle Lowry made some big shots. The separation that they were getting off of those screens, usually I haven't seen the Celtics in months now get beat by one play. I've seen it, for 7 minutes, call a timeout, make some adjustments. I've seen it for a half. Today, throughout this game, there was no answer to that particular action, and that's so disappointing I want to think in my mind that if Rob Williams was here, he would have challenged guys at the rim. It would have been different. And I think we now enter into the world of, living without Rob for whatever amount of time that is. And we saw it today. Like Bam today with Kyle Lowry, those guys were the MVP of this game. And the Celtics never really figured that action out.
Yeah, I got sloppy, too, with the ball scout throughout 18 turnovers in this game, and the Heat seemed to capitalize on a lot of them, especially in that fourth quarter. I also thought they didn't respond particularly well when Miami went zone in that fourth quarter. The Heat played, it looked like a box and one there for a while, and the Celtics just weren't patient enough to get off shots there. And that concerns me a little bit, too, Scal, when Miami was able to shut down Boston's half-court offense so effectively. I'm sure that's something other teams are going to look at.
Yeah, so when you look at it, basically, you mentioned the box and one. It was different than a box and one, but it was a flat-out denial of Jason Tatum. So you saw the possession. Tyler Hero is picking up Jason Tatum at half court and pressuring him because he's forcing him to drive. The biggest thing offensively from the Celtics today, and even though they had 27 assists, I thought it was an average passing day. I thought there was possessions where they needed to work the ball and make Miami rotate, and they just didn't do that. They did one pass here, one pass there, but if you're going to beat this team with the way that they pressure you to drive you, and then when you're there, you got three guys on you, you make the right play. I think it's one pass to another drive, to a kick weak side, and they weren't willing to do that throughout this game. In a playoff series, it'll be a little bit different, but I just thought that they kind of bailed out on the high assist and the extra passes that they needed to break down that Miami defense.
A bit of an eye-opening game against this Miami Heat team. Thanks so much, Scal, for that insight. Let's take a break here on Celtics Post Game Live. You see that final score, 106-98.